Chapter 1. Veiled Canvas. The rain fell in slow, deliberate strokes over Tokyo, each drop a whisper against the pavement. It was 1958, and the city was a patchwork of old and new neon signs flickering to life in the Ginza district, their glow bleeding into the shadows where black market dealers traded secrets alongside silk and silver. Somewhere in this labyrinth, a man named Hiroshi Kato moved like a ghost, his leather satchel heavy with more than just film reels. Kato wasn't just a cinematographer. He was a courier. His latest delivery wasn't celluloid, it was a scroll, its edges frayed but its ink still vibrant, a 17th century masterpiece that had spent the last decade hidden in a Kyoto temple's false wall. The Americans called it Operation Golden Lotus, though few outside a select circle knew the name. To Kato, it was simply the work of men who refused to let history be erased. The scroll was destined for a studio in Hollywood, where it would be photographed frame by frame, its secrets preserved in the negative. Then, under the guise of a period drama, it would return to Ace not as contraband, but as art, its journey documented in the margins of film's credits. The Soviets had tightened their grip on cultural exports, but Hollywood's golden age was still a force to be reckoned with. And in the hands of men like Kato, cinema became something more than entertainment. It became a lifeline. Across the Pacific, in a dimly lit editing bay in Culver City, a young producer named Daniel Reeves studied the first as Prince of the Crimson Peony, a film that would never be released. Not officially, anyway. The reels were filled with scenes of Imperial Japan, but between the frames, hidden in the negative, was something else entirely. A map of where the Soviets had seized the last of China's national treasures. Reeves had been recruited by an old friend from the Oz, a man who spoke in riddles and carried a silver cigarette case engraved with a lotus. "You're not making a movie," Head said. "You're making a ledger. One that can't be burned." The first shipment had been used jade figurine smuggled inside, a prop chest, its value lost in the chaos of a studio backlot. But the scroll was different. It was too large, too fragile, too important. And the Soviets were watching. In Hong Kong, a woman named Manling worked the night shift at a film lab, her fingers stained with developer. She didn't ask questions when the reels arrived with no paperwork, only a single word scrawled on the canister. Lotus. She knew the code. She knew the risks. But she also knew the alternative excellence, erasure, the slow death of a culture swallowed by ideology. The scroll made its way to her lab in pieces, each segment hidden inside the sound reels of a martial arts film. The actors were real, the fight scenes choreographed, but the film's true purpose was written in the margins, in the subtle shifts of light and shadow that only those who knew how to look would see. By 1962, the operation had expanded. A Japanese director, a Korean cinematographer, an American producer, none of them spoke openly about what they were doing. But in the quiet moments between takes, when the cameras were off and the crew dispersed, they would exchange glances, a nod, a cigarette passed in silence, a promise. The Soviets weren't the only ones watching. The Chinese nationalists had their own agents, their own agendas, and in the shadows of the Golden Horse Film Festival in Taiwan, a man with a British accent and a fake press pass slipped a microfilm into the pocket of a visiting Japanese starlet. The film contained the location of a Ming Dynasty vase hidden in the basement of a Shanghai museum. The vase was recovered in 1965, smuggled out in the belly of a cargo plane disguised as a shipment of film stock. The plane's manifest listed it as props for the Jade Dragon, a film that would never be made. But the real story was unfolding elsewhere, in the editing rooms, in the dark rooms, in the whispered conversations between artists who understood that art was never just art. It was a weapon, a shield, a way to say, we were here. By the time the 1970s arrived, the operation had saved hundreds of piece paintings, scrolls, sculptures, each one a fragment of a culture that refused to be silenced. The Soviets had tightened their borders, but the films kept coming. The reels kept spinning, and in the margins, in the spaces between the frames, the truth endured. The last known shipment was a single brushstroke, a fragment of a calligraphy scroll that had once hung in the Forbidden City. It arrived in Los Angeles in 1976, tucked inside the script of a film about a spy. The script was real. The spy was real. But the scroll was something else entirely, a final message, a defiant whisper across time. And then, just like that, the operation vanished. The men and women who had made it possible faded into history, their names lost to the archives. But the art remained. And in the quiet moments, when the projectors hummed and the reels turned, you could still hear the echoes of their voices. The story wasn't over. It was only waiting to be told again.